have the sources to prove it. In other words, we have the receipts. Okay. So is this the kind of leadership that we want in our children to admire? Do you want your children to admire the characteristics and the leadership style of your president?
Yeah. And again, guys, as Dr. said, we are broadcasting live from Thailand. Some of you guys, if you want to see some of the extra that we have going on, um, the visuals, we advise you guys just go to YouTube live with J&B, and you guys will be able to see some of the visuals that you may not be able to see on some of the other platforms. Trying to give you guys a back set. We do have some video inserts that we wanted you guys to see. So if you want to see those, you can definitely go to YouTube live with J&B and see those. You can always go back later after the live if you don't want to do it now, if you want to stay where you're at. So that's cool. So we'll appreciate it. Again, as Dr. said, we are live broadcasting from Thailand, Bangkok. If you guys also go to YouTube, we broadcast live here for the next month here in Bangkok live. So you guys can go and watch all the footage that we already have, including footage to come. And again, thank you guys so much. What's good, fam? We appreciate you guys. Welcome back to the J&B Live Podcast.
Thank you,
again,
guys.
Broadcasting live off the Bangkok, Thailand.
Yes.
Again, if you're watching live, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure that you guys are sharing with somebody who needs real conversation. So again, make sure you guys go to our YouTube page, Live with J&B, and make sure you guys subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you guys a thing, and it helps this broadcast go a long way. So we appreciate you guys so much for all of your support.
Okay, guys. So if you're listening on audio, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart Radio, just anywhere you get your podcasts. And I am your girl. I miss you guys. I'm your favorite auntie, Dr. B.
All right, you already know I'm your boy, your uncle, that guy, Broker J3.
Okay, so tonight's topic is serious. It's simple and it's serious. Trump, you are not a leader. This is not about party, whether you're Democrat or Republican. It's all about behavior, guys. That's what we're talking about tonight. So what should leadership look like? Okay, everybody has an idea of what leadership looks like to them.
Exactly, guys, and we want to let you guys know exactly what that looks like. Before we get into Trump, let's set the bar real quick. Leadership means empathy, accountability, and self-control.
So, in other words, guys, you should hold your president to a higher standard. You should hold certain people in your life to a higher standard. And guess what? A leader doesn't punch down. In other words, when a person is down, you don't want to punch them. A leader doesn't mock pain. When a person is hurting or when people have been affected, you don't want to hit a person below the belt when they're already hurting. And a leader doesn't turn violence into entertainment. And it's not always about them. That's what I don't understand. Some people has to make everything about them.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part about it, guys, because that's important because like Dobby said, kids are watching, families are watching, and the truly sad part about it is the world is watching right now.
Okay, guys, so let me give you a scenario. Imagine that your child's principal hears about a student getting hurt, and instead of checking on the child, they joke about it in the hallway. What would you say? Is that strong leadership? What do you think, Broker J3?
Well, personally, it's like this. Would you pull your kid out of school immediately after something like that? Would you do that?
Okay, guys. So to me, that's not strong leadership. In other words, they should check on the child to make sure that the child is okay. instead of just talking about it in the hallway, because the child could be seriously hurt. So leadership starts with humanity doing the right thing. Okay.
That's so true, Doc B. And that's how it should be. But we have the kind of president in office, the convicted felon in chief in office, that's using. He's basically mocking violence. Now, let's talk about how this president does in regards. We'll jump back into when the president was mocking Paul Pelosi's attack.
You guys remember that?
So
Okay.
for some of you guys that are on the other platforms outside of YouTube, you're gonna miss the video. We're gonna play a quick video, real quick, when President Trump was actually mocking when Paul Pelosi was attacked with a hammer when their house was broken into.
This is Nancy Pelosi's husband, guys, in case you don't know.
You guys may
Paul
be able
Pelosi
to hear it,
is.
but again, if you was on YouTube, you guys would be able to see it.
Together we will take on the ultra-left-wing liars, losers, creeps, perverts, and freaks who are devouring the future of this state like a swarm of locusts. And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody?
Now here you have a previous leader in the Senate, Nancy Pelosi, and her husband was attacked. This a couple of years ago. Her husband was attacked. Their house got broken into, and one of the attackers, basically bashed him with a hammer. Very unfortunate. Now, the president, instead of, condemning the violence that had happened to one of the representatives. Now, I mean, we talking about somebody that's one of the leaders in California, at that time. Instead of condemning the violence that happened to her husband, you're talking bad about her. They're making a joke. So anybody heard how her husband's doing? And then the sad part about it is people are so sick these days that you hear the people in the background laughing about it, instead of shaming President Trump on what he said.
Yeah, that's crazy. That behavior is becoming normalized, and that's the saddest part about it. So according to the AP News, guys, Trump joked about the attack, saying that's the guy that went crazy with the hammer, and people laughed about it. You heard the people in the background just laughing about it like it was a joke. That could have been anyone in that audience, his family members that was attacked by with a hammer. But yet he was a leader, the leader of the United States was joking about it.
Yeah. Now, and again, that's not a rumor. That's something that actually happened and was reported. But that's not uncommon for our president. He's talked down to about so many people before.
Yes, he has.
Even
the handicapped
people, the service members.
John McCain.
If you was captured, during the war, you shouldn't get no medal because you was captured.
Yeah. He's repeatedly referenced. He repeatedly referenced Paul Pelosi's attack in a mocking tone and did not offer 1 ounce of sympathy for this victim.
And it's sad because even some of the recent events that's going on now, even what happened at Brown University, sad situation with what just recently happened. When they asked the president about it, he's talking about the ballroom and stuff, like he has no concern.
War with Venezuela.
With what's going on with the American people. It's just, it does not make any sense whatsoever.
It's just like he has a disconnect, and if it's not important to him, if it doesn't not affect him, then he does not care, guys. So let's keep this real. What if someone broke into your house and attacked your spouse? Okay. Now imagine the president of the United States joking about it on stage about your spouse being attacked. That's the same thing.
Mm.
You do not expect for our leader, the leader of the United States, to do this publicly, not even privately, but to mock someone. In other words, he should be offering some type of sympathy or condolences.
Yeah. Now, would you feel protected, or would you feel respected, or would you even feel targeted?
All right. Thank you, Big C and Mr. Pat, for joining us. We appreciate you guys joining us this evening. As Broker J3 said, we're broadcasting from Bangkok, Thailand, and we decided to bring this topic before you guys because we know that it's in the news. We're going to get to Rob Reiner in a little bit, but we wanted to start and give you a little bit of history about how Trump is not a leader. Okay.
Exactly, guys. And again, these are the types of things that even for me and Doc B to be in Bangkok, we had some stories with some locals here, and it's a shame when you're in another country and people from another country,
Mm-hmm.
ask us how do we feel about our president. It's that shameful because even though we may not agree with Trump's actions or some of his policies, we can't really say anything positive about the man that's running our country, and it's shameful. And again, what shouldn't matter whether he's a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or anything. You should be able to have something good to say about your country and your president. But the president that we have, and how he's disfranchising his own people, and how he claims he's the peace president and wants to petition for a Nobel Peace Prize, but yet he's blowing up innocent people on boats, wanting to start wars with Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
It's that doesn't seem like it's a president that is all about peace. It seems like a president that is acting like a dictator, like his best friend Vladimir Putin.
Okay, so Heaven or Hell says that he does not like people of color. I agree with you as well, and we're going to get into that a little later on as well. So now let's talk about dehumanizing language, the type of language that he uses, guys. I mean, even to the point of him calling people Miss Piggy, just trying to shame or body shame people. This is not
Yeah,
the
talk down.
character, talking
Yeah,
down to people.
yeah,
Just because you ask him a tough question, he don't like the question that you ask him. So then he calls you a bad reporter. Then he calls you a name so that you can feel bad. That's a form of just a threatening behavior, trying to manipulate you so that you feel less worthy of who you are. It's all a game to him, guys.
and it's a damn shame. I don't care how you flip it, twist it, or whatever. It's a damn shame. And it's part of a pattern. According to Reuters, Trump has referred to political opponents as vermin.
Miss Peggy,
And said that they are poisoning the blood of
of them.
our country.
And see, guys, the saddest part about this is when he talks like this, the MAGA supporters, they are in his ear.
Oh, big time.
And so, when he says stuff like this, even with his recent attack on Marjorie Taylor Greene, she said she's been getting threats because of the fact that he's talking negative. He's called her a traitor. And so now the MAGA supporters are threatening her. This is not the characteristics of a leader.
It's not.
Okay, so language matters at all times. And, this kind of language mirrors authoritarian rhetoric. And we're a democratic nation. We don't want to live like that. That's not the country that we live in.
Exactly. And guys, let me say this clearly to you guys. Disagreeing politically does not give you permission to dehumanize anybody. Me and Doc B says it all the time. On the J&B Live Podcast, we allow anybody to join our podcast. At some other platforms, when you say the wrong thing, or if you came in and you was a Trump supporter and said Trump is the greatest, a lot of time people will boot them out of the room because they don't want to hear it. We don't do that. We want to hear your opinion. So if you say Trump is the greatest, tell us why. Give us a reason why. Bring those receipts to us and let the people that are watching our platform know why you feel the way you do. So even if we may not agree with you, we still can talk it out and hash it out. We've had many podcasts where we had MAGA supporters in here, and because of the fact we was talking out, they was actually giving gifts and supporting the J&B Live Podcast because of the fact we had the audacity to be able to talk it out instead of just kick them out the room.
Okay, so guys, we want to continue talking about that language, that dehumanizing language. So, what if your child came home from school, calling classmates vermins? What would you do? How would you react to that, guys?
Yeah, you wouldn't excuse it by saying, well, they was just passionate about it. You wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
you wouldn't do that at all.
Yeah, you would correct them. You would tell them to no longer do that because words do shape behavior, guys.
You're absolutely right. And we would never. I never condone my kids to bully or talk down on anybody at all. And sometimes, even if someone does it to you, now I'm not gonna lie and say turn the other cheek type situation, because if somebody hits you, I want you to slap the ish out of them if they put their hands on you. But words don't hurt you. So if somebody's talking about you and all they're doing is running their mouth, that's non-effective whatsoever. And you shouldn't let it get to you.
Okay, guys. So the talk of the week and what's really been in the news lately is Trump's attack on Rob Reiner. And I'm sure most of you know him because he and his wife were just recently murdered. And long story short, they were murdered by
unalive.
They were unalive by their son, who had a history of mental health and drug abuse or substance abuse. I'm not sure, what the drug of choice was. So, we were leading up to that because of the fact that how he's attacked Rob Reiner, because Rob Reiner was not a fan of him, and how he spoke out about Trump and his behavior. And we wanted to give you a little history of that before we start talking about Rob Reiner. Okay.
All right. So, guys, again, we're going to play another clip. Again, if you guys was on YouTube, you'll be able to see the clip, but you can always go back later to our YouTube page, Live with J&B, and be able to watch those clips that we're going to play now if you're on another platform outside of YouTube.
Okay.
And this is Trump's own comments about Rob Reiner, somebody that just recently passed away, was unalive, him and his wife.
Yes.
And President of the United States, instead of having compassion, regardless whether he didn't like you or not, these are his comments about what happened.
That post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person.
That is ridiculous. Did y'all hear him refer to himself in the third person?
Yeah.
God.
Trump didn't like him as far as Trump's concerned. Like he's talking about somebody else, but he's talking about himself. Now, again, let's talk about Rob Reiner, again, who recently passed with his wife. Now he's been repeatedly targeted by Trump. This wasn't the first time. It's just sad this time because of what recently happened to him and his wife. And you guys just heard the response. If you was on YouTube, you just saw the response of the president.
Saying he was mentally disturbed
and accused him of suffering from Trump deranged syndrome. Now that is a damn shame.
That blows me away. That's not debate, guys. That is an insult on that family. And I'm saying myself, I feel for the family, because I know that there was a sister or a daughter that probably had to witness the death of her parents. And then to hear this from the president of the United States.
He does not care. He doesn't care nothing about the people. And he's a shady business. He's been a shady businessman, heaven and hell. That I mean, it's amazing that people would say that he's not a politician, but he's a businessman that came to straighten out America. Let me tell you something. Anybody who's a businessman that goes bankrupt more times than he's prosperous, Trump has made more money during his second term in office than he's made in his whole life.
Yeah.
What does that say about this president? He's only using the office to enrich himself and his family.
Yeah, he is now a billionaire, guys. He really is. He is a billionaire. So these attacks were personal, not policy based whatsoever. You know, a lot of when I was listening to some of the commentators, some of the legacy media, a lot of them would say, well, he shouldn't have said nothing at all. Or they were saying that he should have did this and he should have did that.
His own supporters
said that. Some of the MAGA supporters, some of the GOP Republicans are saying that he should have been more compassionate, and they are right. He should have, because we expect more from the president. We hold the president of the United States to a higher standard than we do anyone else.
That's right. And just a quick shout out, guys. I know I haven't said this earlier, but meant to say this. Make sure you guys are following our top supporters, our top gifters in the room. So if you are in the room and you look at the top and see our top supporters,
and Heaven or Hell,
make sure you guys follow them. Heaven or Hell. Even though she's not our day one, she feels like our day one.
Yes, thank you for your support.
Always here when we hear, and we appreciate you, Heaven and Hell. Thank you so much. So make sure you guys follow her and help her get her followers and her supporters up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So give us a scenario, Doc.
Okay. So let's think about it. What we do is when we bring you, an episode, we try to let you know what's going on in the political spectrum. And also sometimes it's not just always political, but we also try to correlate it to what's going on personally. So just take this, what we're going through or what we're experiencing with this so-called leader, Trump. Just imagine that your boss publicly calling an employee mentally disturbed because they disagree. Some people will label you just because you disagree with them.
Yeah, and it's crazy because in most terms, HR would get involved immediately if an employee start going around talking about, hey, he's mentally disturbed, just because he said something that you didn't like or he didn't agree with the way you was doing your job. It's similar to sexual harassment to the point where it's something that's not tolerated in the workplace. So why is it tolerated in the White House when the president can talk down shamefully about anybody that does not agree with him, that's not aligned with him? It's sad when we saw what happened when Jimmy Kimmel, he didn't like what Jimmy Kimmel said, so he tried to shut him down.
Yes, he did.
He don't like what some of the networks say, so he said, you know what? I think the FCC should, shut down this news media because they don't like Trump. When in history, you know how many people didn't like a bunch of presidents, but the president ain't never said, well, we need to shut down the news station, shut down the TV station just because somebody said something about them. Yeah. How crazy is that? You want to sue newspaper people and sue colleges and stuff like that because they don't agree with you or your policies.
Yeah, and then if you maybe want a lawsuit against him or something like Comey and James, and you're going to retaliate against them. So, anybody that goes against you in any manner, you're going to retaliate against them, whether it be financially by suing them or attacking them, calling people Miss Piggy, whatever. This is nonsense. These are not characteristics of a leader. And this is the sad part about it. It's politics. And so people are excusing, but that's dangerous. And I am so sick of people saying that is Trump, that's being Trump. No, stop normalizing that behavior.
That's right. It's past dangerous, Doc B. So let me ask you guys this question. Why we say that this isn't leadership? No, why? Because leadership, it calms situations down. It doesn't inflame them. If you are a leader, with whether somebody agreed with you or disagreed with you, you are cool, calm, and collected. You don't talk about them, and you figure out a way to calm the situation down completely, not escalate it.
Yes, exactly. That is a true character. Not escalating is a characteristic of a leader. Okay, so leadership protects people. It doesn't tear them apart. It doesn't minimize people, even the ones who don't support you.
Exactly. And a leader never treats violence like it's a punchline.
Yeah.
It's too much bad stuff already going on in the world today. And a lot of this stuff is being inflamed by our own president. He feels like because the Democrats does not follow his policy or believe in his policy, he calls them the enemy from within.
Yes, he does.
He's calling out to his supremacists, to cause harm on them, or feels like if somebody says you shouldn't follow illegal orders, telling people that you should be hanged, you should be killed, it does not make sense. This is the president.
Yeah,
it's shameful.
Yeah, and I am not a staunch supporter of Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she is a human being. She should have the right to say what she wants to say. Everybody should have a freedom of speech, and she should not be targeted because of what she says. So, this is the country. This is where we are, right now. And someone put in the comment section, that's probably why you're in another country. What we decided to do was we needed a much needed vacation. So we decided to visit Thailand. And if you've been joining us lately, you will see that we've been to several different cities.
The countries.
Countries. What countries?
Well, a couple of cities,
couple
but,
of cities
but
within
it will
the country.
be 2 other countries, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Yes. So we did Phuket, Patong Beach, and just different places. So make sure you check out that international series. Okay.
Yeah.
So guys, imagine this. What if your pastor, your mayor, or your coach mocked someone who got hurt? Would you lose respect for that person immediately? I probably would. Thank you. I probably would, because of the fact that you don't expect that from a coach, a mayor, or a pastor.
Exactly. So it's like this, guys. So why lower your standards, for a higher office? It just does not make sense. Thank you, cuz Tawana.
Yes,
Appreciate you joining us. We are broadcasting live from Bangkok, Thailand. It's 9:30 at night, so we know in the States about 9:30, depending on what city you're in. So thank you for joining us early this morning for our podcast. Good to see you, cuz. Nice to see you pop up early in the morning. I appreciate it. Love you.
Okay, guys. So, we expect more from the president of the United States, and we're not going to normalize his behavior, nor are we going to lower the standards for that office. Okay.
We sure aren't. Not at all.
Okay, guys. So we need you guys to join in and let us know what you're thinking. So would you want your child to model this type of behavior from this president? Yes or no? Put it in the chat.
Exactly.
Put it in the comments.
So put it in the chat, guys. Do you think that this type of behavior that the president is pushing, you think this is a model behavior for your child? Put yes or no in the chat and let us know. And shout out to everyone watching from the United States, Caribbean. We got Africa in the chat. We got Europe in the chat. And of course, we have Asia in the chat. We do have some of our Asian followers that have started following us since we've been broadcasting live here in the Asian territory. And of course, our people that's tuning in right here in Thailand. Me and Doc B being so surprised we've gained almost 100 followers and subscribers on our YouTube page from Thailand. So we appreciate you guys so much. And
Okay, guys. So my final thought and my final take on this, and we shout out to our new #1 gifter. Shout out to you.
Juana, thank you so much.
Yes. So leadership is about character, not about the volume. According to all of the reporting, we've seen moments where empathy was replaced with mockery. Him just mocking people, and dignity dignity was replaced with a bunch of insults. And I just can't stand that, the name calling. And if, like I said, sometimes you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Exactly.
That matters because children learn leadership by watching how adults handle power. A president should model restraint. He should model compassion and respect, especially after violence. When that standard isn't met, it's okay to say, this is not the leadership that we want.
Exactly.
And all of those GOP, the Republicans and Democrat should be calling him out for that type of behavior.
I totally agree, Doc B. And again, the title doesn't make you a leader. Behavior does. Okay? So just because you're the president of the United States, it does not mean that you're above the people and you're the greatest thing happening. Your behavior shows what kind of person that you are. And according to the AP, Associated Press, and Reuters, the word we discussed tonight were real and documented. We gave you guys actual clips of the president making those comments in regards to Pelosi's husband and Rob Reiner and his wife. So this is not something that Broker J3 and Doc B made up. These are real stories that's going on. Mocking victims, insulting critics, dehumanizing opponents, that is not strength, guys. You know what it is? It's failure.
Yes, it is.
That's not leadership that we admire. It's not leadership that I want my kids or grandkids copying.
No, it's not.
And it's not the leadership that we should normalize and feel like it's okay for somebody to do that. It's just not. And I'll say this: if Biden, Trump, or any other president, even Bush, Reagan, or any other president made comments like what Donald Trump is doing, they call it out so fast.
Yes,
that's why I'm so amazed that these Republicans and these legacy media news groups are so scared of this man. It just does not make sense. You guys are scared of an 80-year-old man.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, they are. But now
he's not even the richest person in the world. But you guys act like you got so much power.
Yeah. They're a lot of them are afraid because they were afraid. Yeah, they were afraid that they would not be reelected the next year. But they're dropping off like flies, guys. Yeah. Every day there's somebody,
they're resigning.
A Republican that said that they're not going to run for a second term. So they're dropping like flies, and we anticipate there are going to be more.
Yeah, and guys, we want you guys to come back tomorrow because you know what? Tomorrow's the deadline.
Yes, it is. The 19th.
It's those Epstein files. So we're going to be live on that tomorrow. So you guys are going to have to join us because we want to see DOJ going to release them files or it's going to be some more BS. We've been waiting for a month.
What do you guys think? Do you think they're going to be released? I don't think they're going to be released.
We've been waiting for a month.
Yeah.
So now we're ready for the lies to start coming out.
Okay.
We said, Doc B said, some people dropping off like flies. They're resigning before it happens.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? So we're going to see what goes down.
Okay, guys. So make sure you hit that like, that share, that subscribe, so every time we go live, you can join us. Yeah, thank you again for those of you who are joining us today, and thank you for your support.
Now, again, we know a lot of you guys can always follow us on our videos, but you can always backtrack and go to live with J&B on YouTube, and you can catch all of our content there. But for you guys that don't have time to watch the videos, you could be driving, especially since we're broadcasting in Thailand. It's at night, so it's in the morning for some of you guys, and you can't watch us and you want to listen to us. You can always follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcast listening enjoyment. Just look for J&B Live Podcast, and we'll be right there, and you can listen to your heart's content.
Okay. All right, guys. So thank you again for joining us. We appreciate you, and we are here because of you. And thank you for joining us. This has actually been our live. We've done a lot of international clips because, like I said, we're abroad. But as far as a sit-down conversation episode, this is the first one since we've been in Thailand. So thank you guys for joining us and being a part of the J&B family.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I am your girl, your favorite auntie, Dr. B.
And I am your boy, your uncle, that guy, Broker J3.
Okay, guys.
And as always,